What happens if the sky becomes a prison? Right now, thousands of miles above your head, a ticking time bomb is orbiting the Earth at 17,500 miles per hour. It isn't an asteroid. It isn't an alien weapon. It's a dead satellite drifting silently toward a discarded rocket booster. When they collide, it won't just be a crash. It will trigger a chain reaction, trying to permanently lock humanity on Earth. This is the Kessler Trap. And to escape it, we may have to build one of the most ambitious machines in human history. An orbital laser system designed to clean the sky. For decades, we've treated orbit like a boundless ocean, endlessly dumping our dead satellites, spent rocket husks, and stray titanium screws into the dark. We launched mission after mission, marveling at the fire of the ascent, but rarely thinking about what we left behind. Right now, there are tens of thousands of tracked objects and millions of microscopic fragments silently circling the globe. They are the ghosts of our early space age, and they are armed and dangerous. In the vacuum of space, a rogue screw doesn't just float. It travels at 20 times the speed of a bullet. Velocity becomes a force multiplier so extreme that mass almost stops mattering. A paint chip weighing less than a gram once cracked the window of a space shuttle. A discarded titanium bolt the size of your thumb can hit a hull with the kinetic energy of a hand grenade. We have surrounded our planet with an invisible, hypersonic minefield. And once enough of this high-speed debris accumulates, a horrifying mathematical certainty takes over. The Kessler Trap isn't just a cluttered orbit. It's a cosmic shotgun blast, where every single pellet that hits a satellite fires 100 more shotguns into the dark. Two dead satellites colliding don't simply dent each other and stop. They shatter into thousands of high-speed fragments. Each new piece of shrapnel becomes a rogue projectile, seeking out other satellites, which in turn shatter. Over years or decades, a collision cascade could gradually make entire orbital regions unsafe. Once a critical density is reached, the math becomes inescapable. The debris creates more debris faster than the Earth's atmosphere can drag it down. It's a runaway chain reaction of hypervelocity destruction that fundamentally breaks our connection to space. The first casualty of this nightmare wouldn't be future Mars missions. It would be Tuesday morning. GPS errors leading to grounded flights and lost supply chains. Lost weather satellites blinding our climate forecasting. Financial networks drifting out of sync. The global internet constellations we increasingly rely on going entirely dark. We are entirely dependent on a fragile orbital ecosystem, and losing it means plunging backward in technological time. If we allow this storm to reach its critical mass, our road to the stars collapses beneath us. The sky, once a frontier of boundless exploration, transforms into an impassable prison roof. To stop that future, we can't just cast physical nets or deploy massive mechanical catchers. Send a giant net into space, and when it's struck by a larger, unexpected piece of debris, it merely shreds, adding even more material to the shrapnel storm. We have to look beyond physical, mechanical traps. We need a visionary megastructure. An elegant sentinel positioned in the high frontier, manipulating the fundamental properties of light and energy. We need the orbital sweeper. Building the orbital sweeper is an engineering feat rivaling the construction of our grandest terrestrial cities. But to build it, we must overcome a series of impossible problems. The first problem is power. This machine has to fire lasers for years. Not minutes, not hours, years. And that means the sweeper must become something closer to a floating power plant than a satellite. we are mapping out a sprawling, skeletal framework suspended in the silent vacuum. To generate the megawatt-level energy required for sustained, high-intensity laser pulses, the structure has to unfurl vast solar arrays spanning several square kilometers. These gossamer panels act as immense mechanical leaves, unfurling silently in the vacuum to drink in the unfiltered radiation of our host star. They channel that staggering power into heavily shielded, high-capacity capacitor banks. This energy is effectively inexhaustible on human timescales, turning the star's raw light into a tool of absolute salvation. The sheer, monumental scale of these arrays is absolutely necessary because power dictates the effective range of our beam. A larger net catches more sunlight, yielding a much farther reach into the dark, allowing the sweeper to clear a massive volume of space. Yet raw power is utterly useless without pinpoint precision. The second impossible problem is the target. We are attempting to shoot a speeding bullet with a beam of light, while both the shooter and the target are traveling at 17,500 miles per hour in wildly different directions. To pull this off, the sweeper casts an invisible net of advanced LiDAR pulses across the void. It functions like a high-resolution optical radar, mapping the environment with extraordinary precision. The system simply knows where the debris is. But capturing that data is only half the battle. Every second, tens of thousands of lethal microfragments cross the sweeper's field of vision. Human reflexes are entirely useless here. Advanced artificial intelligence has to serve as the central nervous system of the megastructure. To understand the terrifying complexity of what this AI is doing, imagine the sweeper is trying to predict where a hummingbird will be 1 second from now, while both of you are riding separate roller coasters in complete darkness. The AI must filter out the glare of the sun, the background radiation of deep space, and the orbital clutter of operational satellites, isolating only the lethal fragments. It must calculate the exact trajectory, the asymmetrical mass, and the erratic rotational spin of a discarded titanium screw from 100 miles away. It has to predict precisely where that screw will be at the exact millisecond the active laser fires. And that brings us to the final hurdle: the sweeping mechanism itself. Popular culture almost always depicts space lasers as a single, massive glass lens firing a continuous, destructive beam of neon color. We have to discard this science fiction trope entirely. A giant, singular lens is fragile, incredibly heavy, and mechanically impossible to pivot fast enough to track thousands of erratic, hypervelocity targets. Instead, the laws of physics and modern engineering lead us to the phased array laser. Think of an orchestra where 10,000 musicians play the exact same note at the exact same instant. Instead of sound waves, the megastructure utilizes tens of thousands of smaller, modular, coherent laser emitters spread seamlessly across its flat hull. This decentralized architecture also ensures survival. If a stray piece of debris damages a section of the hull, the rest of the array simply recalculates and continues firing, entirely unfazed. By constantly adjusting the timing of these digital emitters with nanosecond perfection, the overlapping light waves create an interference pattern, dynamically steering and focusing the laser beam instantly. The sweeper is aiming with pure mathematics, rather than with physical gears and heavy motors. At the exact moment of contact, the phased array laser doesn't slice through the debris like a hot knife through butter. It delivers a rapid, ultra-intense pulse of invisible infrared light lasting only a billionth of a second. We aren't blowing the debris up. It's like pressing a white-hot branding iron against a block of ice. The violent hiss of expanding vapor pushes back against the iron. Through this process of laser ablation, we flashboil a microscopic layer of the metal's surface. The expanding plume of superheated gas pushes against the fragment in the exact opposite direction. We aren't attempting to push the debris outward into deep space. Orbital mechanics dictate a far more elegant and permanent solution. We calculate the laser pulse to apply this microscopic thrust directly against the fragment's direction of travel, effectively hitting the brakes. In the delicate balance of orbit, artificially reducing an object's forward speed causes it to instantly lose altitude. By gently decelerating the shrapnel, we bend its trajectory downward. The sweeper is simply nudging debris into atmospheric re-entry. It trades focused light for atmospheric friction. It pushes the lethal fragment out of the busy orbital highway and dips it into the Earth's thickening upper atmosphere. There, the immense friction of entry takes over, acting as a great, natural cosmic incinerator, harmlessly burning the debris to glowing ash long before it ever reaches the surface of our planet. To truly cleanse the near-Earth environment, a single sweeper is insufficient. We have to envision a perfectly synchronized constellation of these megastructures, spaced evenly across different orbital altitudes and operational inclinations. They will exchange targeting data through laser communication links moving at light speed, passing complex tracking numbers in a seamless, invisible relay. Through this flawless, automated dance of light, computation, and orbital physics, we systematically eliminate the threat, piece by microscopic piece, preparing to finally reclaim the sky. As the constellation of orbital sweepers completes its silent, decades-long work, the near-Earth environment undergoes a profound transformation. The invisible shrapnel storm, once a ticking clock of catastrophic collisions, slowly subsides into the atmosphere as harmless, glowing dust. It paints brief, unseen streaks of light across the night sky as the last of our orbital mistakes finally burn away. When we look up at this restored void, we are no longer peering through the heavy iron bars of a cage, built from our own technological negligence. Restoring the orbital highways ensures that the vital, delicate arteries of our modern civilization remain completely intact. The global internet constellations, the precise climate monitors tracking our changing world, and the deep space telescopes peering back to the dawn of time are finally safe from sudden, senseless annihilation. With the specter of the Kessler Trap permanently dismantled, the scale of our ambition can safely expand. The construction of delicate orbital habitats, sprawling solar power satellites, and the massive assembly yards required for interplanetary vessels moves from the realm of unacceptable risk to achievable reality. The sweepers stand in the silent dark as permanent monuments to human foresight. They are a physical testament to our ability to recognize a civilizational obstacle, engineer a solution using the fundamental laws of nature, and correct our trajectory before we seal our own doom. But the true impact of this monumental cleanup effort extends far beyond preserving our digital infrastructure or protecting our future spacecraft. It marks a foundational shift in how we perceive our boundaries. The orbital sweeper would do far more than just remove debris. It would answer a deeper question about our species. Every civilization eventually discovers that expansion creates waste. We spent the first century of the space age violently punching our way through the atmosphere, relying on the brute force mechanics of early rocketry and casually leaving the wreckage of our ambitions spinning in the dark. But the challenge isn't reaching new frontiers. The challenge is learning how to maintain them. For most of history, humanity survived by simply moving on whenever a problem became too large, leaving our terrestrial messes behind for the next generation to inherit. Space offers no such escape. There is no untouched frontier waiting beyond Earth orbit if we destroy the one we already have. And so, the first great megastructure of the space age may not be a Dyson sphere catching the entire output of a star. It may not be a sprawling ring world or an enormous interstellar colony ship destined for Alpha Centauri. It may be a giant machine built to clean up our own mess. Because the moment we learn to maintain an entire planet's orbital ecosystem, we stop behaving like visitors in the cosmos. We transition from a careless, reactionary society into deliberate, responsible stewards of our local cosmic shoreline. We become residents. We prove to ourselves that our ingenuity can finally outpace our hubris. The sky is no longer a junkyard of broken promises. The cage is open. The stars were never the final test. Taking care of the space between us and the stars might be.